In preparation for Don the Halls this Thanksgiving on FETV, Ron Defore shares Christmas memories and favorite moments from his dad's career.
There's a few things about Don Defore that many people probably don't know. One, that in the 1930s, at the beginning of his career, he was one of the founding members of the Screen Actors Guild, the main union for actors. And in 1954, he was the president of the Academy of Television Arts and Sciences and sold the very first national broadcast of the Emmy Awards show to NBC. Prior to that, it was a local show in Los Angeles and New York. And I suppose it was that led the membership to vote him in to serve yet another year in 1955. Shopping during Christmas, before Christmas, was great with Dad because people would ask for autographs. Now, the most common thing, though, would be somebody not really recognizing him as Don Defore, but as like a neighbor that they had seen recently but couldn't remember, and they'd say, hey, how are the kids? How are you doing? And my dad, again, had a great sense of humor. He would play right along with it and say, oh, they're doing fine. How about how are the kids and family? Oh, they're doing great. And this would go on, this same scenario for about 30 seconds, and then the person's jaw would drop and say, wait a minute, you're Don Defore. And all us kids would howl. One of the traditions for the family on Christmas morning was not to rush out and open all the presents. It was to line up and have our breakfast first. Part of that breakfast was a traditional dish, kolaches, which is like a Czechoslovakian Danish. My dad was half Czech, and that was part of his tradition and his family. So after eating, we would all line up in the dining room, youngest first, and he would blow his horn. It's a traditional Christmas horn that I still have today to do for the grandkids. And that would signal that it's okay to come in. And we'd go and we would do the stockings first. Then when we'd move to the presents, again, a tradition probably different than a lot of families, we would open them one at a time. Each person would be handed a gift, and that was so we could all see and appreciate the gifts that were given. We were in the Hollywood Christmas Parade several times, and I have a video of our car coming by and the famous Bill Welch of Channel 11 with a microphone and interviewing each of the passengers in each car, and my dad had loaded up the entire family. Dad loved working on the adventures of Ozzie and Harriet, and the chemistry between particularly he and Ozzie was just something that's very rare. And Ozzie was a great director, producer, writer. He and his brother Don wrote the episodes, but the writing and chemistry that occurred between my dad and Ozzie was just a treasure. Shirley Booth is nothing like Hazel. Believe me. She was a genteel, very quiet, but very intelligent, a very sweet woman. At Disneyland, specifically, I remember introducing her to the bobsled rides on the Matterhorn, and she loved it. And her just laughing her head off. I think we went around and around 3 or 4 times, right in a row on the Matterhorn. Dad really enjoyed making it happen on Fifth Avenue. It had a wonderful cast. He had most fun with Alan Hale Jr., which some of you may know played the skipper on Gilligan's Island. But he and Dad became friends, and spent a lot of time between scenes telling each other's jokes. Dad was good friends with Ronald Reagan. He co-starred in one of his films, but also then campaigned for Ronald Reagan for California governor and for the presidency. And ultimately, both he and I were Reagan appointees. Another thing is that he owned a restaurant inside of Disneyland, Don Defore's Silver Banjo Barbecue in Frontierland. And that's why I've titled my book Growing Up in Disneyland, which is not only a metaphor for my life growing up in a celebrity family and surviving, but for 5 years of my youth, it was literally my backyard.
Be sure to watch FETV Thanksgiving Day from 6 to 11 for Don the Halls, a Christmas celebration featuring Don Defore.